Hello, good afternoon, and welcome to Nigeria Now and Echo Television, where we keep you updated with the happenings in the country. Do remember to drop your comment and your views on Facebook as well as on YouTube, because your comments are always welcome to the growth of this program. I am Sada Elisha Dashom. I'll do the program alongside Rachel Tansey. Good afternoon, Rachel.
Afternoon, sir.
All right, before we get into what we would love to discuss for today, we know that Ajero received requests coming from the police to usher in or to come in and give an interview concerning him being linked to some issues concerning financing terrorism as well as other fraudulent issues. And so we're seeing that the NLC as a body is threatening to shut down the economy just in case that he will be arrested by the police. So I think it's across more details will be coming regarding this story. But then let's get into the matter of the day, starting with education. This morning we saw where ASU is given a, will I say, a strike notice. This is no longer a warning strike. They gave that warning strike since June. And so here they're giving this talking about strike notice, the fact that they'll be going on strike. And we will recall, I mean, we started this conversation earlier today in the morning, the fact that there are certain criteria that they gave the government some of their demands, which of course we saw the issue of the 2009 agreement that till date some of the arrears have been held, and then even looking at the collapse of the educational sector entirely. I mean, they have been trying to get the attention of the government, but it seems every effort that they've tried in has proven to be abortive. And then here we're seeing that they're giving the federal government 21-day strike, because this is basically the ideal time they are supposed to give. And we started a conversation that the fact that this is enough time
It
for
is.
the government. But they're looking at the fact that part of the agreement, or what I'm quite worried, is the fact that they need about 200 billion naira yearly to be able to run the educational sector. And this is the one that we're saying that the federal government is yet to bring forth. I just can't help but wonder what seems to be the problem. Is the federal government saying there's no money to finance education in the country, or what just seems to be the issue? Why is the federal government, proving very difficult to penetrate? I mean, because I'm trying to look for the right word to be able to define this whole thing, whereby we're saying that we have keep saying repeatedly the fact that when you're talking about development in any economy, you cannot rule out the educational sector. In fact, it seems to be the heart at every nation, that when you give attention to the educational sector, you are giving attention to almost everywhere. Because imagine if there's enough resources to handle the issue of education. Of course, we'll have good graduates out there talking about medicine, health sector will fall in place. Talking about even every other sector, it will fall in place. Why? Because the foundation was well grounded. But we're seeing the reason why things are shaky right now is because we have failed to give attention to the sector that needs the attention, and we refuse. We can even take a look at our budget yearly. How much is being allocated entirely to education? We've complained about even the universal basic education. How much is it getting? Let's look at the student loan. How many people are actually have been enrolled into the scheme? We can keep looking at pockets and pockets of how much goes into the education. You can really agree with me, Richard, that honestly it is underfunded. No wonder we're having the National University Commission coming out to state the fact that, you know what, let's be on our own. And we saw where at time the federal government was saying that the university will have to start generating their own funds. And you just can't help but wonder, where is all of these things coming from? But I mean, it is what it is right now, right? So we're seeing 21 days, and I wonder what the federal government will do. Because we're in this country, and we've seen over the years the body language that we see. Each time we see there is a threat, or we see even if it is a warning, we don't see them taking it seriously. But here we're seeing them saying this is not even a warning. They're just notifying them 21 days after we'll be going on strike, and this is not a warning strike, and we know they always mean their words each time they say that.
So like, it is a thing of concern that something that was agreed upon since 2009, we're looking at 16 years later and payment have just been made once, and that was since 2013.
13.
That was the first and last payment they received of 200 billion, and then it's supposed to be within a span of 5 years. And now more than ever, Sele, if ASU is deciding to take a drastic measure now, you can't fault ASU. The reason being is that they have stated there are many concerns. First, there are certain allowances that have not been given to them that was agreed upon. And even in the recent meeting, ASU is saying that they met with the Minister of Education, certain agreements were being made that, you know what, we are going to do this, and then nothing had been done about it. Then we can move forward, where ASU is also saying that, you know what, proliferation of universities is becoming alarming.
Of course.
A lot of universities have been approved. We have new universities out there at the state level. We're having colleges, we're having state universities. We can't include private universities because they are funded privately and all of that. But many universities have been out there. We see them in states around. We see that on the plateau, we see in National. We can call all the states that there are either state university or federal university that were not existing and now are existing. And now you fast forward it to 2024, or we can take it back to 2023, because if the Nigerian government will say that perhaps they didn't have 200 billion to give yearly to ASU for a period of 5 years, now more than ever, Nigerians will begin to ask questions. So when you took out fuel subsidy, with the fact that it is gulping a lot of money, what was the plan you have for the money that was to be saved from subsidy removal? Now, starting since the removal of the fuel subsidy, there were calculation. We have NNPCL, Medicare coming out to tell us that, you know what, it is 400 billion that we're going to be saving monthly from fuel subsidy removal. And we started the addition. 2 months down, it was 800 billion. 3 months later, we're looking at 1.2 trillion. It means, Sele, that if subsidy removal have been taken out completely, truly, and the federal government is beginning to save money, then it is time to start investing in the sectors that have suffered due to the fact that you are claiming subsidy removal is gulping, and subsidy payment rather is gulping so much from the economy. Now that is gone, why are we not investing it in the sectors that have suffered over the years? And now more than ever, ASU and every other sector, the education sector is watching the administration, health sector is watching the administration, every sector that have suffered for a period of years now are looking at the government and say, okay, you know what? It means that the government, just from 1 month of not paying subsidy, can be able to pay us 2 years of this money that we are expecting to receive, because we need to improve the standard of the varsities. This 200 billion is not even the salaries, is not even allowances, is nothing that goes into the pocket of these lecturers. Most especially, it is to improve what we have. We need to have faculties running. I remember when I went to the school I finished from, there were certain departments that were not accredited. And we know it simply means that they are lacking structure, they are lacking enough staff, they are lacking the resources to fund basic trainings and all of that for it to be accredited and then fully functional. And that is what is going on in all the universities that the federal government is allowing to thrive, that have given license and have approved them to start. And these are all the problems ASU is looking at and saying, you know what, I think now more than ever, we need to ask the government, okay, now that you are claiming this is gone and certain money is supposed to be saved, why are you not putting it into this sector for us to be able to thrive and grow? Because in the end, we need our educational sector to thrive. Well, because we are seeing the fact, in fact, it will give employment more, because now faculty that are not fully functional, operating in 100% position, will be able now to employ, will be able to have more, will able to have even newer faculties, not just what studies that were not available in our universities will be available now, and all of that. So I think this is a crucial period, because now ASU know that the government can't tell them they don't have the money for what they are asking for, because by all indication, if you've reduced subsidy on electricity, you've removed on petroleum completely, then where are all of these funds going? I know that the federal government can say, well, we're giving more allocation to the state governors, but you see that is also a misplacement of priorities, because the educational sector, we know that the federal universities are needed to thrive because they have more capacity to change, I mean, the future of Nigeria education wise and even economic wise. If you don't want people leaving this country, if you want more investment and all of that, I don't know why this sector is allowed or being neglected. And instead of you to start taking drastic measures, you are waiting till the union comes out and gives you 21-day ultimatum, because a notice rather, before you might take an action. The federal government can't give ASU this 200 billion right now. Let's begin from there. We just saw a purchase of $100 million presidential jet. So I believe that no doubt the federal government does have 200 billion naira to give ASU. Let's start from there. One payment 2015. Let's start from 2024. You give them 200 billion this year. We give them subsequently for 5 good years is giving. If you can give them for 4 years in a span, I think this is what ASU is asking, and I think the Nigerian government is capable, except if this administration don't want to take ASU seriously, meaning they are neglecting education entirely.
Of course, because it's obvious from the body language of the federal government what is of top priority to them.
Yes.
I mean, if we are seeing the requests that have been on your table since 2009, and then the last time you attended to be was about 10 years back.
Yes.
Then we need to ask the government this certain question: what is top priority to you? What is important to you at a time like this? And this is where you hear comments coming from Nigeria. Is it because your words are not studying in these federal universities? And I keep saying each time we talk about education, Rachel, that I just wish I'll be given the opportunity to pass a bill that henceforth, if you're a political holder, your child will not school outside this country. Except when you step down, then you use your personal phone to maybe to be able to, pay the bills for your child. But as far as you're on seat, you are not allowed to do that. We saw when one of the members tried to pass that bill, and I'm very sure, he was more like making a caricature of himself there, because nobody took him seriously. They were all laughing. Yes. And I wonder what is funny about that. It's serious. Because you are refusing to take, this sector very, very important. And we're still having the issue of how much is the running cost for our senators. And here we are having something that will benefit the entire nation suffering. So let's just hope that these threats coming from us, the federal government, will take it seriously and do what they expected of them to do. Now, we are aware of the security challenge we're having in this country. It seems every day we have to discuss one security challenge or the other. Is it that we're having a kidnapping in Zamfara, or we're having one in Castina, or we're having Benue suffering daily from one attack after another? And now here we are having the fact that our students are not even safe. The school is not giving them what they want. The Nigerian government is even failing them as well by protecting them. And here we're seeing that about 21 students or so were actually being abducted. And then
20.
It's sad because we're having about, I think, 20 students precisely, because we have about 12 from University of Jos and then 8 from University of Benue, and they were actually on their way for a conference in Enugu, I think about 6 days back, last week Thursday. And then till date, we're yet to hear anything apart from the fact that the abductors have reached out to say, you know what, you have to pay 50 million naira. And at this point in time, you just can't help but want to point an accusing finger. Who is to blame for all of this thing that is happening? Is it the Nigerian government that have refused to secure the lives of its citizens? We keep repeating over and over again the fact that your number one duty is to protect lives and to protect property. We're talking about 20 students as it is presently. And we saw that there was a conference that had held recently concerning what needs to be done about that. But it's really alarming. We remember the issue of the core members where we saw the Nigerian road as well, still using this road. And I've had a lot of things concerning these Benue axis. A number of abductions have been happening on that road. And I wonder if the government is not aware that there is this particular point that we had that issue of the Abuja-Kaduna route, a particular place, and for a while we've not heard anything happening there. And then we are back right now. The spotlight is on the Benue road. I just can't help but wonder, what is the government doing about it? I just can't imagine how traumatized the students are presently. I mean, imagine how you have to go through the stress of strike in school, Rachel. And just when you're happy, I mean, I'm about at the verge of finishing, and then you're being abducted again. And you just can't help but, you know what, the entire fingers are going to the federal government, because you have failed to protect the life of its citizen, and that is what is happening here. Meanwhile, we're seeing the House of Representatives, calling on security agency to be up and about concerning rescuing the student. But I wonder how long it will take them, Rachel, to be able to bring the students back to their parents, because I can just imagine what the situation is right now. But it is what it is, concerning the security challenge we have in this country.
Usually, when we see a kidnapping of few individuals, is always usually more fatal than the other, because I can't help but cast my mind back where we had over 137 students being kidnapped, in as much as the government came later and said, no, that's not the number, they were below 100 and all of that. And then within a short period of time, we saw these children being released. And now here we are having over 20 students. We've seen a number of students being kidnapped over the years, over the years for some time now. And depending on the region, we see them coming back quickly. We've had the Kaduna train attack where a lot of people were kidnapped, and some are still in captivity, because there was never a report of 100% freedom. We have a lot of people in captivity. I think we keep moving past the stories because new ones keep happening, but there are people still in captivity that have been kidnapped for over a year, even up to 2 years. We're not even talking about the Chibok or that Chibok, not the ones that had made a lot of buzz. No, even the silent one. There are people that have been in this kind of like students, like these people, mass transit and all of that. Some were killed, some were released, and some are being kept captive up to today. And then the question is, it feels like it's a game of luck or chance. Okay, whoever the government is able to free, whoever the operation is able to be favorable for, whoever gets lucky and the ransom is being paid, as if 1 or 2 people don't get killed, if all of these students are being able to come back. Because I know one thing for sure now going on the ground is that these families are trying to raise funds. Now, if we are to point fingers, of course, you can't say it's the students. We are supposed to apply those rules. If we are to point fingers, you can't say, well, it's the driver, doesn't he know the right road to follow? No, of course not. There is little or nothing the driver or the students can do. This is a federal government express road that will take you to one place or another. And of course, whether the federal government likes it or not, or the government entirely, they are the ones to be blamed, because we keep saying it, these people move. When you talk about the Kaduna Abuja expressway, it's because a lot of people are avoiding those routes. Usually that is the measure, the preventive measure that has been taken. But whether we like it or not, the damage have been done. A lot of people have died and have been killed on that road. So now for those who can take, who have the mind, the rigs, exactly, to apply those roads, applying it. And because now motorists are no longer there as much, it's no longer profitable for these kidnappers, and they move. And it's as a result of them moving that a road becomes silent in regarding kidnapping, and another one becomes the new target. Because we've talked about how these people don't single-handedly kidnap one person. It's a group. There's a synergy. There's
this
gang.
network.
There's a network, Sele. There is a network of these people doing this, and they move from one place to another because they have been recording a significant amount of success. And it's about time we know that these people are not new, but have been in the business for a while now. Exactly. So we can be looking at almost the same gang group of people doing the same thing over a period of time, because up till now we've recorded rescue, but how many times have the NSA, our defense headquarters, have our police, have our soldiers come to tell us, okay, you know what, we have been able to grab some kidnappers? Is there such news on our papers? Yes, but it's very few. The success to getting those unknown herdsmen, gunmen, and all of that is little. And that's why we keep having them thrive, because they are still out there at large. We just see 1 or 2 got in, but how about the hundreds that are out there fully armed and all of that, still moving from one state to another? The government needs to do more concerning what is happening regarding kidnapping. And then it's sad that it becomes a game of luck for who gets released and who doesn't, because there's no guarantee that even if your family is able to raise these funds, you'll be released. We've seen where the ransom was being paid and the person still ended up being killed by these kidnappers.
True, honestly, because we just can't help but, because as we said, there's nothing you can do individually. You can't just say, okay, they'll mostly do parade around 10 p.m. so I can use the road. Right now, we saw the issue of the Ekiti student, broad daylight on their way going home. They were being abducted. So we can keep mentioning the pockets of attack we've had over and over. And yet, just like you said, do we have some success stories? Yes, we do, but they're not significant. I mean, yesterday we saw one of the paper where the army, or the soldier rather, complain about their welfare and their feeding.
Yes.
So what are we saying? So they're not even well taken care of. They don't have the welfare, they don't have the equipment, they don't even have so much to be able to combat all of this thing. And they also have their lives to protect. First and foremost, they are humans. We saw where some of our soldiers were being killed. So first and foremost, they are human. That's why we're saying it's a network, because they make communication. We've tried to tell the government, Nigerians have tried to tell the government, if these people make phone calls, can't you trace the call? Why do we now link our SIM? We saw where MTN precisely blocked how many people subscribe, and it was just short that I even discovered that one of my SIM card was being blocked because I didn't use it for a number of, and so why do we have to link? If the federal government cannot make use of all of this information to trace the people behind it, of course they say they buy a number of SIM cards, so when they're done with this, they break it and then they make another. Can't you trace all of this? And don't we have a technology that will be able to help us do this? Okay, how about having CC cameras on some of our roads that can help our security agency to track down certain things? I mean, there's so many things you can do to be able to reduce the number of kidnapping, but yet we see little or nothing being done about that. Well, I just hope that the federal government have something up their sleeves concerning the rescue of the student. We hope that they all come back safe and sound. We've had situations whereby parents have to take it upon themselves. I won't forget the issue of the Greenfield in Kaduna. Parents had to look for a way. And literally, we saw where parents were fighting the security agency to leave them to take their kids. Where were you when we needed you to intervene? And when we've tried our best, you want to take the glory? Of course, we'll not allow you to do that. So we just hope that the government will be able to do something. We employed you, or rather, we elected you to do that. So we hope that they'll be able to live up to their responsibility. Well, that's how far we can go, Rachel. Thank you for doing this.
You're welcome, Fela.
As well, thank you to our viewers, thank you to our supporters, and every member of the crew for making the program a success. We look forward again to doing this tomorrow. Do have a wonderful day ahead.